here I am at the dealer getting my motorcycle fixed. Well, not fixed, but a recall done. Anyway, checking out the motorcycles, we'll see what we see. So far, believe it or not, I'm really not impressed with the BMWs, except for maybe the R18. More on that later. 120 is a very sweet looking bike. Kind of reminds me of my dad's Triumph. Back in the day, he had a 500 Tiger. Triumph still keeps the heritage going. Beautiful. Here's a Scrambler. This bike is really attractive as well. This is definitely something I would take a look at. I'm kind of liking the smaller, lighter bikes in spite of my wife's suggestion we get a full-on turn. What do you think? Pretty bike or what? Yeah, this is a pretty bike here at Springfield. Definitely a pretty bike. What strikes me about the Indians is how low they are. They seem lower than Harleys. But for some, I could see that as a plus. But man, I don't know. I feel like I'd be sitting on the ground. It'd be a big difference from my RT. Beautiful bike though. I like the Springfield. Challenger is an interesting bike, but I'll tell you, I'm really not a fan of the matte colors. It just doesn't look finished, not at all. But interesting bike. And here we have one in black. Shiny paint, gloss, definitely an improvement. Although black isn't my favorite color. And then here we have blue. Yeah. Much better. Much better. But it's also $31,000. For 31 grand, I have other choices, especially for something that doesn't even have a trunk. That's definitely too much fucking money. And then we have red. Again, 31,000. Pretty, better than the matte colors. Again, really low seating position. What strikes me as odd about this motorcycle is that for 31,000, you don't even have passenger floorboards. You don't even have a passenger backrest. There's no trunk. The trunk option on an Indian is $3,600. It makes Harley seem like a rational decision. And that's coming from a BMW rider. And I'm kind of being facetious here, but I don't know. It's a pretty bike. It's nice. I'm sure it works very well. But from me, from someone who's cheap and price conscious in a sense, I think maybe there are other roads. Yeah, that's a pretty blue. I don't know. What do you think? Suitable replacement for the RT or what? Not crazy about the looks on the KTM from the front, but man, this bike has the beans. Hey, good day here. This is Jim with my Motorrad, doing from the rider's seat. Basically today, I thought it was a good day. I didn't expect to do any rants. Maybe I won't at this point, but I thought it was a good day. I had a recall done on my motorcycle for a fuel pump recall that BMW was covering back to 2005 and later. Certain models of motorcycles where the fuel pump flange could potentially crack, which would cause a leak and a possible fire, which is a very bad thing. Anyway, so I had that completed today, and as you'll see in the video either before or after this, I looked at several motorcycles in the dealership, which is a multi-line dealership. They have, you know, all the Japanese brands, KTM, Husqvarna, Triumph, Indian, and Harley Davidson. So basically they pretty much covered all, even have Ural, of all things. So anyway, you'll see some of those little clips and whatnot here if you haven't already. What really struck me is I liked a lot. I was actually kind of shocked at how much I liked them, were the Triumph parallel twins. I really liked the T120 and the Scrambler. Something about them, if you're talking about like from an emotional perspective, I really like them. As far as the BMWs go, nothing there really struck my fancy as far as the newer stuff that's modern. They didn't have any RTs in stock, you know, the GS, the GSA. I like the GSA, you know, the way it looks somewhat, but like the R1250R and the K1600s, they're okay. A whole bunch of technology rolled into those. The R18 is probably the only BMW that I really like from that grab you kind of thing. But moving on from there, I also want to go look at some Indians. I looked at other bikes too, like Kawasaki's and whatnot. I didn't video that at all. But I did look at Indians, and I was kind of surprised at how expensive they are. The Challenger, whatever it is, I think limited or whatever, the high-end ones, $31,000. Holy shit. And that really doesn't, you know, include any modifications that you might make to it to make it your own. I've looked through their catalogs, and the top cases are like $3,600. If you want to buy a windscreen from them, it'll probably be, I would say, at least 50 to 100% more than what you would pay for Harley windscreen from Harley's accessory catalog. You know, if you're comparing apples to apples. Just kind of an expensive bike. I mean, they're nice looking, but are they up to like Harley standards of fit and finish? No. Are they probably technologically more advanced than a Harley Davidson? Yes. Are they as technologically advanced as a BMW or a Honda like a Goldwing? Absolutely not. So I have to wonder what you're paying for there. I'm not saying it's a bad bike or anything like that. It's just like from a value perspective, I don't know. I can't see spending that kind of money on something that still needs to be made right to work for me. And not an inconsequential amount of money. But again, they're beautiful bikes. I like the Springfield the best out of all the Indians. I think that, to me, that's an Indian. And that's actually more reasonably priced than the other ones. And if I was going to get an Indian, that's what I would probably get. The one thing that did strike me about the Indians is that they're very low. I mean, lower, at least they appear to be lower to me than Harleys. And that's really good if you want a low center of gravity, especially with a heavy bike like that. But as someone who's 6'5", I was looking at it, I'm going like, geez, I feel like I'd be sitting on the ground with that. I don't know. My Nomad 1600 that I had wasn't as low as them. Probably by, if I had to guess, a few inches. It was just surprising to me. But they're nice bikes, and the gentleman that was in the showroom there was really nice. I had a nice experience with him, Eric Jurgensen. I think he might be a parts guy, but he spent some time and talked to me. It was really nice because I found that he's from Iowa, and I spent over 9 years in Iowa, and he was from an area that I lived, you know, the general Des Moines area, and we knew some of the same places and whatnot in terms of motorcycle dealers and even where I worked when I lived in Iowa. So it was cool. It was a nice conversation I had with him. Pretty cool. So, I mean, I'll definitely give a shout out to Eric here in the running feet and whatnot. And I'll let him know that I'm giving him a shout out. Nice to meet you, Eric. Maybe we'll be in touch sometime, just for the hell of it. Anyway, I met another BMW rider there that was getting the recall done as well on a slightly different model. It was nice, made a connection there. He belongs to the local BMW MOA club, which I do too, and we didn't even know each other. So we kind of connected there and whatnot. So it was a few hours that was well spent. I mean, I had an okay time and whatnot. I'll tell you this much. The waiting area has basically a hard bench, wooden bench seats. So the only conclusion I could come to is they don't want people sitting around too much. Maybe they want them up and looking at motorcycles. And I can understand that. Most people don't think about it, but there's a reason for how any sales-oriented organization is set up. And like I said, everything is thought about, whether it's the waiting area, how the entrances are set up, everything. So I just found that kind of interesting there, you know. But everyone there was very nice for the most part. The only thing I would tell GOAZ is, again, I had a very odd experience with the salesperson in the BMW area. They don't know their product. They really don't. I don't want to say at all, but they really need to sharpen up. You know, if I talk to the Harley guys, they know their product. I talk to Indian guys, he knows his product. The BMW guy, the second guy I talked to, which was today, I talked to someone last time, no. And right away, both guys, the first thing they go with the pitch is, oh, look at that K1600. So it's all about what they have to push and sell. They didn't really, I don't want to use the word interrogate, but discuss with me like, hey, what's your interest? What do you ride? What kind of riding do you do? What are you interested in? What do you really like? I don't know. Nothing at all. Whereas at the Harley Davidson dealership, had a nice conversation. Guy got to know what I ride, what I do, and whatnot. And I was a lot more comfortable because you have a conversation. And really, to have a good sales organization, you want people that can talk to people and find out what they're about and actually at least feign successfully to show interest in who they are and whatnot, and to find out what their needs are and what they're about. This place, nah, man, I don't know what it is. So basically, he proceeded to tell me that the maintenance expenses on my RT are the same as it would be on a K1600, which is patently untrue. If the 18,000 mile service on a K1600 is very expensive because they have to check the valve clearances, and a lot of body work has to come apart. You have to take the valve covers off and whatnot. It's a lot of work. That's probably $400 in labor just for that alone. And if you need the valve clearances checked, the cams have to come out of the motorcycle. So valve clearance adjustments on a K1600 are usually between $900 and $1,000 just for that. Whereas my RT, even the newer ones, they're a boxer engine. The valve covers are right there. You could take it off. And at least on my bike, I have threaded adjusters. Very easy to do. Very easy to do. And generally speaking, from what I understand, if you have a full service done on a bike like mine, maybe it's $400, $500 for everything. Oil, filter, valve adjustment, air filter, spark, whatever. It's not that bad. If I was to have it done with the K1600, no. And they go through tires faster than the other motorcycles too, because they're heavier. And they put a lot more horsepower and torque out, so they tend to eat tires a little quicker. Anyway, I might just say this also from the perspective of I've worked in a couple independent Apple shops, and I was a tech there. I've been doing IT for 27 years. I'm an Apple guy, and we had to not only be trained on Apple stuff and be certified in that, but we also had to be product professionals. So if a customer came in and I had to discuss particular models, what their needs were, feel their pain, as Steve Jobs used to tell us, you knew what you were talking about. You knew everything about it. So I think they need to spend a little more time and energy and money in training their people to know everything there is to know about BMW motorcycles. Like I said, other parts of the brands within the dealership, different salesmen, probably very good. But I don't know what it is. This week, this time I ran into another numbnuts. Anyway, that's pretty much my rant about that. The other rant I would have actually is that I got home, and actually I just came out here to do, from the rider's seat. And I was looking at my front fender and the fucking paint is chipped. I'm like, what the fuck? It wasn't like that when I brought the motorcycle there. So I took a picture of it. I'm going to send it to the dealer, see what they say. I mean, I don't know what to say, man. It was a recall. It didn't cost me any money, but it's like my motorcycle also didn't have freaking chip paint either. I'll put a picture up here in the compiled video. So that kind of pisses me off. If it was a new bike, I'd be fucking torqued. But this bike's 11 years old. In terms of from when it was built. It's not in perfect condition to begin with, but it also didn't have that big fucking chip on the front fender before I brought it there. Anyway, that'll be my rant of the day. And last but not least, I would really like to give a nice shout out to a few people. One is Pete 1800. Thank you for the vibration damper for the quad lock. I appreciate it very much, Pete. You're an officer and a gentleman, as they say. You're a mensch, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And that's a New York thing. I'm from New York, and a lot of Jewish friends, and so I learned a lot of the vernacular. And a mensch is a good guy, someone that is really decent and honorable, and a good egg. And Pete is that. Thank you for the vibration damper. I appreciate it. The other shout out I want to send to is Randy T-Bird. Randy T-Bird has a YouTube channel. I suggest you check him out. Randy is a salt of the earth type. He's really into Harleys. He just bought, I think it's a Street Bob, Harley Davidson Street Bob 114. Beautiful, beautiful bike. He does a lot of riding in the area, actually not far from me. He goes up the B-line a lot, which I live off the B-line. One of these days we have to definitely hook up. So I really want to throw a shout out to Randy. He's a real decent guy too. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else I want to throw a shout out to here. So I got Randy, I got Pete. There was someone else I wanted to give a shout out to, and off the top of my head, I really can't think of it. That tells you, I'm kind of like a little out of it today. Sorry for that. If there's anybody I missed, I apologize, but I will be giving shout outs. Actually, I know who it was. Actually, I do. And I'll put his picture here. And he'll be surprised as he is in the picture. Okay? And that's CJ from Cyclotron. How could I forget CJ? He's really, in some ways, a kindred spirit. He's a smart guy. I can tell he's even more technical than me. I'm actually kind of slightly left brain, but actually I'm considered mid-brain. But he's definitely more left brain than me. He's smart, a really smart guy, I can tell. Thinks about things, and I appreciate that in someone. And I like his videos, and I like him, and he's pretty cool, and I will continue to watch his YouTube channel. So shout out to CJ at Cyclotron. Watch his YouTube channel. I'm sure you'll like it. I'm sure he'll have videos coming. And that's really about it. So anyway, until I see you, or you see me next time, be you. Everyone else is taken.